Owls are so creepy.
Right? Especially that one.
Yeah, with a little mustache on it.
Guys, we just got back from Brahms, The Boy 2.
There's 2 of them?
2.
He's a boy, too.
A film that should have never,
Had a sequel.
should have never gave them money.
No.
Should have never had a sequel. I have a Brahms 2, The Boy sucks.
It was a stinker, guys.
It is shitty. It is a complete waste of your money. Don't go to the movie theaters this week. Actually, I would have rather have seen Call of Wild. I would have rather have seen old crabby Harrison Ford conversing with a bad CGI effect dog.
They couldn't get a real dog.
Yeah, there's no real dogs anymore.
It's because it does crazy things and is large.
Have you seen Air Bud? Have you seen Air Bud?
I'd rather see Air Bud than this. Air Bud 4 than this piece of shit again, because this film was awful.
Yeah.
And pointless and just boring. This film is so bad. They didn't screen it for critics because I was so curious at how bad this was. I went and looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes. There is no score right now. No score. No critics have been allowed to talk about it, or they didn't have the effort to go through it. 40% audience rating, and just terrible. Basically, Katie Holmes and her family and her son are attacked in a home invasion, and that kind of screws up their psychological well-being, and they decide, let's move out to the country.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's safer out there.
Safer out there. They happen to go to the house that we saw in the original film, The Boy.
It wasn't.
What?
Well, it's supposedly, but it's not the same house.
They go to the house of the original Boy. There's a guest house and then the main mansion. They're in the guest house. And, the boy starts to basically dress like the doll, become very infatuated with the doll. Things start to happen. Katie Holmes is believing that she's seeing the doll move. And it's like they play on your idea of maybe she's just going through some PTSD from her home invasion, and they're playing with her mind, and eventually the film, basically
shits on itself.
Thank you, Joe. It does shit its pants at the end. It is boring. The actors were boring.
Yeah.
The script was boring, and I was waiting for something to happen. And, okay, if you know the original Boy, which I'm not going to spoil here, we're going to spoil in the spoiler section, but if you know the original Boy, you think it's going to go one way, right? And they drag that out about as long as they possibly can, and then they go the other way. And that is, like, basically the only good thing I can say about the film. But then when it does do this other way thing, it's executed so poorly and hilariously that people started to laugh in the theater.
Not just you.
Not just me this time. That was crazy. So, yeah, it was really bad. Do not watch The Boy. Joe, do you agree?
I agree. I saw the first one recently.
I think we saw it together.
Well, yeah, I did a little refresher just to catch up on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
first one wasn't this bad.
It wasn't that bad. It was okay. It wasn't the best, obviously. But I was like, why does this one need a sequel? It's done. It should have been a one and done.
Does not need a sequel.
And I stand by my statement. This should have been a one and done. This does not add to the story at all. It just makes it worse.
Here's the problem, Alex, is these films, they make a ton of money on a very small budget. So even if it is a moderate success or an average success, if the studio is desperate enough, they'd like to make another one. They try to make a franchise out of it. Quite clearly, this franchise was not meant to continue. They just took the feedback of, oh, man, I wish this would have happened. And they were like, okay, let's make another film and play with that idea.
Prep it for milking.
And they fucked it up. What did you think?
My barometer for early in the year horror movies is all fucked up because everything we've seen so far this year has been so bad. Now this is not a good movie.
No,
this is.
We don't recommend.
I'm just having it normally. I leave the theater and I kind of know where I'm at, and I'm like I don't know because The Grudge was terrible.
You're
and
scared.
The turning was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like The Lodge. I think The Lodge was terrible. I was not as bored in this one as the Lodge was made competently, right? This one wasn't made all that competently, but at least stuff was happening. There's moving things. There's like
Things
at least
happened.
there's
Things
like some
happened.
jump scares.
Sure.
You know, dolls are creepy. The kids are creepy.
Sure.
It's not a good movie. Don't go see this movie. But I don't know where I'm gonna end up on a score.
Yeah,
like on the
it's
scores.
gonna be different because he hasn't seen the first one.
I didn't see the first
it's
one, so like
completely
there was
different.
no. I'm not rubbed with taint like he is.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Ooh. Here's the thing. I think this will be our first, shitty film review where Alex likes it way more than
Probably.
me. And
No, that's
I don't
not
know.
definitely not a way more. Maybe a point.
Ah, we shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
left him
We'll
out
see.
to dry. Okay, Alex. I think personally, if you watch the original, you'd see the original is
was
kind of
like-
boring
it
too.
was.
Average, slightly below average, but it does something at least
I
a
was like,
little
okay,
interesting.
that's
You may
cool.
not really want it to go in that direction, but you're like, okay, whatever. This one goes in the direction that the audience was originally asking, and it fucks it up. Basically.
The ending was not.
Okay,
not
it's
satisfying.
very hard to talk about this film without spoiling, so we'll
mhm.
talk more about it in spoilers. Just go to final verdicts.
Yeah.
Well, first up, let me say that Katie Holmes looks like she is just sleeping through this whole film. She's looking rough, man. I guess I guess I probably shouldn't say that, but Scientology is really taking a toll on her
yeah.
and being married to Tom Cruise because
Man's crazy.
she looked like she was sleeping through this whole film. Her husband, just everybody's acting was very flat in this. The shots were very
The
flat.
doll was good.
We saw the film at 7:40. I looked at my phone when the first really loud jump scare was going on, and it was 8:40. And then it started to go off the rails a little bit there. Before that, the doll, would do creepy, head turns, and you're like, well, is that real? What's going on? But completely tension-free, no fear, no atmosphere. Basically, what I'm saying is the film is not scary at all. Just hilariously funny.
Yeah, this
Go
is
ahead.
probably gonna be like
Give
one
me a
of the-
final verdict.
I'm gonna go first.
Oh, you want
Alex
to
is
go first?
gonna
Okay.
go
Well, because
go
I
ahead.
want to give you.
That's fine. That's fine.
I was leaning at a 4 up, like 3/4 of the way through this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little below average. You're absolutely right. I don't think there's any tension in this film. The scariest part of this whole film, Katie Holmes is staring at the doll. She's looking deep into his eyes, and she doesn't know if she's like, oh, this is, I don't know why this thing. And so she tries to scare the doll to see if it'll flinch, and she's like, oh, that was the scariest part of this whole
the
movie.
whole audience jumped when Katie
I
jump
knew that was
scared
gonna
the
happen
doll.
because they did in the
Oh,
first
I
one.
knew. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't
They
see
did
it.
the
So,
first one.
and that wasn't even a scary moment. It's just that was the scariest part. And I'm like, all right, well, you know what? If they hit the landing, if this ends in a way where it's satisfying and they do something and they don't fall on their face, this could go up to a 4 or a 5. This could just be an average horror movie. Nothing really special. And then the ending happened.
Yeah, face
And
plant.
then it beyond faceplant. Like this movie's injured at the end, and these characters are coming out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's this random characters of exposition. It's like, hey, I don't know you, but let me give you a history
Let me
lesson
tell
about
you
the last 2 movies that
everything.
the last 2 movies you missed, and it just wasn't good. So I ended up at a 3. I don't think it's as bad as some of the other horror movies that we've seen this year, but it's not good. And this is just skip it.
And the best part of the film for me was the food that the guy was serving at the end. Do you know what that was?
Coco Van, yeah.
What is Coco Van?
It's chicken stewed in wine. It's usually an old rooster that's stewed a long time with in
I
wine.
knew you'd know,
Oh, I
Mr.
love it.
Chef. I want to eat some
course, he
now.
was
God
looking at-
damn it. That's how fucking bored I was.
It was a
and
good-looking
how
dish.
Shitty it was. Joe?
The acting was terrible all around. The kid obviously didn't say much. He uses notepad. When it did finally speak,
he's
it just,
traumatized because of the home invasion, so he doesn't speak the whole film. He communicates through a notepad, trying to give a little bit more tension and
It's a creepy
creepiness to the
it's a creepy
film.
mechanism, but
No.
No, it was done better
Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Elsewhere. A lot of just loud noises, no tension. I was bored the entire time. So, 3 for me. Yeah.
Guys, this
It's-
film
yeah,
is
not worth
awful.
it.
I have a little bit of a conundrum here because I get. I gave The Lodge a 1. I was very upset with The Lodge. But The Lodge is a better film than this.
It's a better shot film, but
It's a better put-together film, but The Lodge pissed me the fuck off.
Because
the potential, I know what you're about to say. Go ahead.
the user ratings for The Lodge right now plummeting. It went from like 80%, now it's down in the 40s.
Okay.
And I imagine as more people watch it, they're gonna have the same reaction. It's
Because
just like,
that's that anger. Here's the thing. The Lodge was filmed competently. It's setting atmosphere. It's just taking its time, and that's fine if you're going to do it right.
It just doesn't do
And
anything.
so it has a higher ceiling. And so when it falls on its face, it is more angering, for it to fall on its face.
Yeah.
Whereas The Boy 2 has no right to exist. They're pushing a story that cannot go any further.
Yeah.
They're giving it to us. You can tell it's a cash-in. You can tell it's just completely corporate. You can tell it sucks balls. And I don't understand why it was even made. Make a little bit of money, obviously. But when it falls on its face, it's more like... right? Instead
we told you,
instead
you
of anger, like, what the fuck? Fuck this film. It was more like everybody laughed at the
Yeah.
end, which they did because the ending is hilarious.
It's dark comedy.
Actually, Joe, if you start from the last 30 minutes of the film, maybe that'll work.
this
Okay.
could work as a comedy.
So I have a conundrum here because I rated The Lodge a 1, and that's going to suck. But I don't think so because, and I really did not like this film. I would rather probably watch the
no.
I don't know.
To.
Two.
Don't
2
watch it.
out of 10. I always
watch
like
it.
when I say 2. It's fucking 2 out of 10.
That
Do
was a
not
win.
waste your money. We just saved you $15, $30, $45 if you go with your friends. Go and see Harrison Ford.
No.
Talk to us.
I
Do
don't
not
like-
support
No,
that.
then save your money. Save your money for video games coming up in March. All right.
Go see Sonic again.
Let's discuss. Yeah, go see. That's a great idea. Go see Sonic.
This should have
again.
been like on Netflix or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it
So
would have
talk
been
with us in the spoilers. Stick around. We're gonna spoil the shit out of the movie because it fucking sucks, and we'll be able to do that in 10 minutes. All right. So join us in the spoiler section. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all on the next Angry Joe show. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section. Just want to throw in some promos down there. Our Mandalorian poster is only available till the end of this month. We got a design like that exclusively. Once that's gone, never coming back. Hit the link below. It'll automatically give you 25% off in your cart. You'll see it there. If you want to do that before the end of the month, that directly supports our show. So, anyway, so The Boy. Fucking, so here's the thing. In the first film when it happened, it was around the time of Annabelle, and you have all these doll films coming out around the same time, and you're like, oh, Annabelle Saga, it's not actually the doll. The doll doesn't actually move. There's a demon that's, like, moving the doll. And then this one comes out, and you're like, okay, fine, maybe the doll will finally. But no, they didn't do the doll. It wasn't supernatural. It was just a guy hiding in the walls, and he was turning the doll's head and the
moving him
arms
around and
moving
eating the
around
food.
and he was living in the walls. And that was the fucking first boy, and then, like, I don't know, the place gets on fire. I forgot what the fuck happened.
At the end?
Yeah. You saw it recently.
Yeah, basically, he comes out of the wall, starts attacking the people. The girl stabs him and,
Yep.
takes off with Malcolm, and they just ride off. And
But,
he's
and
still
the doll is shattered, and then at the end,
he's
see
putting it together, or someone.
Do we see him putting
No,
it together?
someone
or
is
someone?
But see, it was
Okay.
never him. This movie wonderfully explains.
Right. So then,
No.
then people were like,
No.
oh, man, I wish the
That
doll
was
was
so-
supernatural. I wish the doll would move on its own. So when we get this film, that's what they do here. But it's done so poorly, and it's like that's what you should have started with in the beginning and executed it with a better director and executed with better tension, and it would be a great film. But when the audience already knows that, wait a minute, the previous one, see, me and Joe had this knowledge. That's probably why Alex liked it a little bit better, because you didn't know. Which
Don't
way
use
it
that
was
like
gonna go.
word. Tolerated it more than you
You
did.
like
the bag. Tolerated it more. Me and Joe were like, okay, so it's just the guy in the walls, and they make mention like, oh, this guest house, he was going to fix up the guest house, but he gave up and left. You know, he was going to remodel it, and so no, he didn't leave. He remodeled it. There's somebody in the walls. They're moving the head. But then you look at the film, and there are moments in the film where the doll actually moves. while Katie Holmes is not looking, and you're like, wait a minute. That can't be in her head because she's
here's
looking
what I
away
thought.
and it's moving.
I thought it was actually going to be in her head because when the home invasion happens, she gets hit in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And
She's
then
taking a lot
she's
of
taking
pills,
like
too.
a lot of pills, and like they show it.
Right.
I was like, okay, maybe it's her just being all trippy.
That would've been
but they
cool,
don't.
too.
Yeah, but they don't even acknowledge it at all.
So they play with that till the very end, about an hour or more in, and and at one point he gets up off the couch and runs away, runs off. You hear his little feet, but you don't really see much of it. And then she runs after him and realizes that her son was just getting a glass of water, wasn't in the room, wasn't around. It's like, oh, okay, what the fuck is going on? She's constantly racing back and forth. She thinks that maybe she's looking up internet articles. She's reading about the previous person that was living in the walls. It was never buried or whatever. So she thinks it's that person. Turns out it's not. It's, it's the doll is actually demonic. Oh, also forgot the groundskeeper. So why don't you take the groundskeeper?
He's just a creepy guy, walks around with a shotgun and a really cool-looking dog, which I was really upset about.
All bad films always kill.
They killed the
fucking
dog. And so he walks around, and he's just this walking pile of exposition.
Yes.
And at first he doesn't say anything, and then he says everything. And he's there to try to build tension, but it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, but so
So
his
Brahms
character.
made me do it. He made
Right.
me do everything.
So apparently the doll is actually demonic and can influence
There's a
the
butthole mouth.
children.
Yes.
So yeah, has a butthole mouth. When the
And maggot eyes and a butthole mouth.
At some point, the doll in the climax of the film is forcing the little
Climax.
boy to, he kidnaps the little boy. The mother's trying to talk him down. The little boy has the stupid secondary mask on, so he looks exactly like Brahms. And he's got a shotgun towards his mother, and he's like, yeah, blah, blah. And then the father is slowly creeping up on the doll with a crochet mallet and fucking hits the doll, and the doll shatters, and you see it's like a demon.
It's a little
Got
demon.
a little demon head and got like a fucking butthole mouth. Like
It's a bleeding butthole mouth, which is
bleeding
weird.
butthole mouth with maggot eye.
It has one eye that's just filled with maggots, and then the other eye's just an eye.
White.
Yeah, your
White eye.
imagination is amazing.
And he does, and and so the first thing that happens is the groundskeeper comes in, and then he's like, and he's like, why'd you hit him? He's gonna be mad at me, not you. And why?
I was like, why? You didn't hit him.
Right, and so then he gets mad at him, and he levitates the butthole. Then he's and then and then he makes the furnace explode, which doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really kill the guy.
pushes
It
him.
just pushes him even further and makes for a slow-mo shot, which
Got
is dumb
pushed
as
to
fuck.
death.
Got pushed to death. So stupid. He's a demon. He can literally,
That
love
would've
his body. That
something.
would have been something cool.
Something.
This whole scene
When he
was
pushed him.
Like in that, what's the girl that plays Phoenix in the X-Men? Famke, the older,
Rachel Famke Jensen?
Yeah, Famke Jensen. She's in a horror movie where
On the top.
where the demon, the poltergeist, actually says "fuck this" and starts fucking crumpling people's bodies, and I was like, man, that's fucking cool. At least the film had that. This film doesn't have it. He pushes him. He pushes him with his shockwave.
I'm going to summon this fire to push you into a wall.
And then he manages to get the kid back under his influence, and you see the influence is actually broken when they hit him with the mallet. So, it is in fact demonic influence. This kid has been influenced the whole time to try to shoot his mother. So he picks up the doll and he's heading towards the fire, and you think maybe that he's gonna kill himself and the doll. But the kid looks like he tricks the doll. He throws the doll in the fire, and he's like, "Don't worry, mommy, everything's fine." And then it goes,
I
ta-da,
knew
we're
it was
all
gonna
happy.
happen.
We're in
Yeah.
the fucking house now, different house.
Piece of shit.
And they're all happy. But then at the end, when he goes to sleep, he wakes up, makes sure his mom's not around, goes to the cupboard, opens the cupboard, takes the mask, puts the mask on, looks in the mirror, and he's like,
Good night, Brahms.
good night, Brahms.
We'll be happy here.
It turns out that
Fuck you, man. If you do number 3, fuck you.
Hey, at least the music for this movie was really good.
no,
Because it was all variations on
wasn't.
Brahms themes. Like, see, well, yeah, it
Well,
was.
that's what he said.
There was, like, real creepy,
completely-
Joe,
like-
was the music good?
Honestly, I was falling asleep.
No, the music wasn't good.
They take like Brahms
Well,
lullaby. and
I
some-
don't want you to take that excuse. Was the music good or not?
No,
your
because I
opinion.
did not even hear it.
Oh.
In your opinion, the music was good because
They did creepy variations on Brahms themes. Like the lullaby is one that everyone knows, but there's some other smaller pieces that they did and they played throughout the music, but they did it in weird ways. And
No.
they were trying to build tension with it, But look,
It
if
had
we're trying to find
redeeming qualities.
if we're trying to find a positive, that's like the only one. Like the
No.
classical music.
The positive, I guess the positive is like, okay, we're gonna have the guts to actually make him a demonic doll, but it
With a
doesn't.
butthole mouth.
But it doesn't make sense. It retroactively changes the first film, but I guess it doesn't. They're like, there's enough wiggle room that we could say that the original person, the crawling in the walls, was actually possessed by the doll, and that he wasn't moving the doll around. But it's just cheap feeling.
It
basically.
was.
Were the rules in the first movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of the rules were really stupid. Like you have to keep food in the freezer.
Yeah, there are some
Yeah,
weird
that was for the
rules.
main house because, like, the grocery guy, they would always put food and have everything on.
He likes things very particular, but
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense in the guest house. You know, I guess he's just
No.
repeating all of the same shit. And here's the thing, the little kid during the fucking film starts dressing like the doll. He's in suits that are exactly the same suits as the doll is wearing. Where the fuck are those clothes coming from? They're not the doll's clothes because the doll is too
When you go
small.
on a really short vacation, you don't pack your weird,
They're
creepy
not-
doll suit as a child. You're just,
And the parents don't even fucking say anything or notice anything. Like, where the fuck do you get those clothes? Well, now that we know there was an actual demon, the demon is spawning clothes on the little boy. Awesome. Great. Fucking piece of shit. It sucks.
I'm just curious to
Don't see
see
it.
what happens when this cop show up at
boring.
that crime scene. It's like, oh, yes, seen this before. He got pushed to death.
cause of death.
He got pushed.
Savage
He
shoving.
got pushed to death by a butthole mouth demon doll.
Yeah.
Seen this plenty of times around here. This is the worst case I've seen of pushing.
That's it, guys. I'm going to
Oh,
end on that.
God.
We'll keep this one short because this one was fucking god
Not worth
awful.
your time.
Not worth your time. I do like the fact that they finally make the doll. I love it when movies have like the balls should be like, yes, this is fucking demons. This is demonic possession,
Do something
supernatural.
with it, though.
Do something with it. But here, it's so cheap. It's not executed right. They save it for the last 2 minutes and it makes you laugh. That is not good. It's when the rest of the film was completely boring and pointless. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Click the links below. Support our show. And, yeah, we'll see you on the next Angry Joe show. Avoid the theaters
Bye,
this
guys.
week, guys.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.